Adam Pearce, alături de noi astăzi, co-founder of Blend Commerce. Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
How was the stage? How was the public?
Yeah, I mean, great. I mean, I was a little bit nervous that some of my jokes wouldn't work, and I got a few laughs. So I was happy, very, very happy.
How was GPeC SUMMIT up to now for you?
It's been great. I mean, look, for me, I predominantly work with brands from the UK, from the US, and I think, look, as we all know, e-commerce is absolutely booming in Romania, and I think generally within the European region. So for me, it's really good to come and see what other people are doing in terms of the latest tech, the latest strategies, and obviously come in here and see from the brands that are using the kind of stuff that we do as well.
Adam, for our audience at home that didn't see your presentation, can you please summarize a little bit and take us through your main ideas?
Yeah, so I actually, in the start of my presentation, talked about how I got my wife to fall in love with me.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically the core part of my presentation. It wasn't really, but the point was is that I told this story about how I tried to get my wife to love me by trying to be macho and buying her chocolates. And a very wise man said to me, he's like, look, the problem is you need to use your ears and not your heart when you're trying to get someone to fall in love with you. And I talked about how that is exactly the same with CRO, is that we have to listen to what our customers need and want, and then we give that to them, the actions that we actually then perform to then get them to buy.
Oh my God, mind-blowing. Really mind-blowing, actually. I heard today the same thing. Business is emotional.
Absolutely.
And business and emotional are not two words that you use together.
No, I mean, it's not something you generally think about, but I think ultimately it is a relationship, isn't it, between a customer and a business?
Yeah.
And you have to work hard to maintain that relationship, make it better so that ultimately, as a business, you are then selling more products more frequently and then ultimately driving the kind of profitability you want as a business as well.
Let's talk about the Blend Commerce. What do you do there?
So very simply, we are a group of people that will have a brand that is trying to improve either the amount that people are spending on an e-commerce website using Shopify, or trying to improve the frequency at which people are buying. And what we do is that we analyze with quantitative tools or qualitative tools to understand what it is that the customer that they have needs. And then we use on-site changes and optimizations through conversion rate optimization to get them to buy. So A/B testing, retention marketing, all the things that you can use as an online business to get that person to buy more or indeed buy more frequently from you.
What are the main steps a business should take in order to improve their conversion rate?
I think the main thing is that, number one, you have to do some form of listening. And whether that is quantitative listening, where you're looking at data through RFN segmentation or heat mapping, or whether it's more qualitative listening, where you're doing things like jobs to be done surveys or web surveys, you have to, first of all, understand what those customers need and then break those customers down into smaller groups of customers. So once you've done that, you understand what they need and the smaller groups, you can then give them specific things that they need within each of those groups, rather than just trying to say, well, look, for every single customer, we're going to send this marketing campaign out to. You might have 6 or 7 or even more sometimes variations of an email campaign, but you're doing that because the customer that you have in those groups needs something different from you. And that's the way that you can then get your customers spending more and ultimately then improve that conversion rate as well.
And if you can give us a few examples of unusual findings you got from your CRO activity.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the one thing for me that is often quite surprising is that some very simple things can make a very big difference. Now, we work with a brand who, when we looked at their data, we could see that actually their sales, the majority of their sales, were coming from people that were using PayPal as a payment method. But when you looked at the website, they weren't telling the customers that they could use PayPal right until the checkout. Now, what we did with them is that rather than actually making it too complicated, we said, well, look, we will tell the customers on the site and at cart before checkout, they can use PayPal. We did that. We put some logos on there. As a result, conversion rate goes up by 32%, and then average order value increases by 17%. So ultimately, it's a very simple change, but it's one that's surprising in terms of, look, you are literally just giving that customer more information, but you're increasing the performance of your site significantly. And I think that's always one for me, is that it tends to be smaller, what I would call 1%ers, where it's a very small change that can sometimes have the biggest impact on the profitability of a business.
What are some of the tools that you use actually and recommend for conversion rate optimization?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the absolute key one for us as an agency is OmniConvert. And OmniConvert have a suite of resources that help you both with the A/B testing as well as the data analysis. And what that really can give you as an agency, or indeed obviously as a brand, is a real in-depth way of, number one, being able to analyze your data, but secondly, then being able to go and do those A/B tests on site. So for me, that is going to be an absolute core one that, you know, many of the mid to sort of enterprise size companies should be using in terms of CRO.
And if we talk about the businesses that actually have not used A/B testing until now, what are some key pointers for them if they would like to start them now?
Yeah, I think the main thing is that, number one, you need to decide on and need to understand what is actually your key metric you're trying to improve. Now, the reason I say this is conversion rate optimization, we sometimes think it is just about conversion rate. Now, for anyone out there, you know, listening, who might say, well, look, if your conversion rate is at 3% and we get to 4%, is that a good thing? Well, it can be, but if your average order value has dropped by 50%, it's not good. So you need to look at what we would call the e-commerce growth formula. All the different e-commerce metrics that contribute to profitability, which are the ones that are performing the worst, and then you need to choose tests and A/B tests that can probably impact on those the most. So that's the first step. Once you've then done that, so for example, if you know the average order value, yeah, that is the key lever that we need to pull, what you can then do is you then need to start researching both A/B tests and tools that you can then implement to do that. And then maybe use a more simple A/B testing tool, maybe something like Optimizely, to then do those things on site.
And if we should talk about the evolution of the e-commerce market, what do you think about this evolution? What do you think it will like 2025 when it comes to the e-commerce market?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the main thing is that everyone is talking about AI at the moment. And
great, let's talk about AI.
But in all honesty, I might be a bit of a controversial opinion on AI. I don't actually like it as much as most people do. And the reason I say it is because...
Great, first person that actually doesn't like
really, I mean, and the reason I say this is because as a business owner, as someone selling on e-commerce, what you care about is serving your customers better and selling them more. People like me and people in the tech world get very excited about AI because it's new, it's cool, it's shiny, it's a new thing. But ultimately, if that AI that you're using doesn't improve the experience of your customer and doesn't add something more than you're giving them now, what is the point in doing it? So from my point of view, I think AI will continue to be an important factor in 2025, but a lot of the tools that are out there that are just using AI for the sake of it, they will fall away because brands won't see the value in something that doesn't give them value. Things that can give you proper insights or serve your customers better, great, but there is a lot of AI out there that absolutely does not do those things.
Yeah, very thoughtful, actually. So for digital marketers actually at home who want to learn more and be up to date with everything about the conversion rate optimization, can you give us a few examples of resources, specialists, or even tools that they should follow?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, the guys who work with OmniConvert are great in terms of the tool they have and also the content they produce. What I will also say is that there are some great newsletters out there now that are very practical. So the D2C newsletter is a great resource for useful tips and actions. We at Blend Commerce have a newsletter which is called Ecom 101. And in there, what we do is we tend to publish and talk about things that are things like tests that you can do and tools that are coming out at the moment. And equally as well, you know, I think, look, like we've seen here at GPeC, events are a fantastic way to be able to learn. So I would definitely say find out local events that are going on within your city. I also happen to run an event called Ecom Collab Club, where we meet once a month in different cities across the world, where we talk about things that are going on in e-commerce. So if you are a person who said, look, I would love to go to an e-commerce event, go and do it, connect with people, listen, find out things that you're not going to find out from blogs, because trust me, some of the stuff we heard at GPeC today is stuff that you're not going to be hearing about in blogs or in email newsletters.
That's because this is probably the biggest event from of e-commerce and digital marketing from Central and Eastern
Absolutely.
Europe. Adam, thank you so much for your presence here. Thank you for having us by your side today. Thank you for your many information that actually you gave us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I hope we will see in many other editions in the GPeC Summit.
Thank you so much.